YouTube vinyl community, driving fans, random people on the internet. My name is Giggens, and we're here today to do another driving video. Today we're going to talk about record collecting, and I thought I would take you guys through a fairly rich area where apparently people love collecting money. So I was like, you know what? I love collecting records instead. So we're going to take a drive through a fancy neighborhood here. And it's pretty darn fancy. I mean, there's some of these places, I don't know how people afford these places, but regardless, we're going to talk about my record collecting today. So like I said in the last video, people have asked me over the years to be a little more open about myself or my history with music and my fandom and all that kind of stuff. So I thought I would talk about my record collecting history today. And because it dates back to when I was a kid, and to kind of continue off the last video that I made about yesterday and today, that album really sparked it for me. You know, when for those who missed the first video, when I was about 4 or 5 years old, my family and I went to dinner one night. And after dinner, we went to a Woolworth's department store, and they had a copy of Yesterday and Today on cassette. And we didn't pick it up, and that spurred my whole desire to collect, which has become what you're seeing here now on the screen. And this is only but a section of my record collection here. Over the years, I have sold probably maybe half this amount over the years, because there was a time there where I was super broke and I needed money to keep my apartment and buy food and pay my rent and my bills and all that stuff. So a lot of records went out, but those days seem to be behind me, thank God. So anyways, yeah, around 1992 or so, I'd say I was about 5, and I'm pretty sure that's when I saw that Yesterday Today cassette, and it just spurred something in me to keep looking. Like, for some reason, just like yearning to keep going and looking for the thing I was interested in. And no matter where I went, whatever antique store I went to, or dusty old basement I was in, or a tag sale, or someone's house, I was always looking at someone's collection of their records or their tapes and their CDs too. But I remember vividly in the 90s, my family and I went on vacation. My brother got a copy of Give My Regards to Broad Street, the Paul McCartney album. He got that on vinyl. We found it at an antique store. And you gotta remember, in the 90s, no one wanted vinyl anymore. Vinyl was dead. I mean, you could not give that stuff away fast enough. So vinyl was super cheap. Because, I mean, looking back at it now, who would have thunk in 2020 that vinyl would be so humongous and so popular? It's such an unthought of phenomenon. But that's how it was. So back in the day, you can go to all these places and get records for super, super cheap. And I would say around the early 2000s, I discovered new vinyl. I had no idea records were being pressed on vinyl still, because I didn't grow up per se with, like, I know a lot of like techno and house records were being sold in the 90s for DJs and stuff, but you can't really go to the store and buy an LP. And I remember seeing the first 3 Weezer albums at Hot Topic back in the day, and I remember buying those, and they were super cheap. They were like, I think I got each one for like $12. I mean, because again, no one was buying records, so who would have thought? So I started buying new records around that time, and then throughout high school and certainly into college, I discovered more and more record stores that were still around, and really good antique stores, and learning how to grade records, and what was going to be easy to clean, or what was in good shape, or what was overpriced. Traits that I still hone in on to this day, where I try to always learn more about records and pricing and all that kind of stuff. I got a pretty good idea about it these days. I'd love to open my own record store. I think that'd be pretty sweet. Anyways, I'd say in college, my record collecting really took off, and especially when I moved out, it really started to fly, because then I had room to grow, and I know, twice, dude, I know. I had room to grow and, really spread out and let this thing take off. So I got into bootlegs, I got into live stuff. I mean, as we see from flipping through these covers here, it's just so fun to flip through a record collection, because it says so much more about you than scrolling through someone's Spotify playlist. I mean, that just seems so boring. So for me, record collecting, in a sense, is almost like an identity. It's it's an extension of yourself. where someone walks into your place and they see a pile of LPs and they're like, well, what's this all about? You get an idea of like, okay, someone picked this out. Someone bought this record for a reason or not. For a long time there, I was buying any random thing I can find. I had like German drinking songs. I had background music you play for an 8mm movie in the 60s. Just so many random things that I've long since gotten rid of, but maybe I'll get back someday again. But my record collecting has changed over the years, where these days I'm really only collecting things I absolutely cannot live without. I don't really buy things just for the heck of it anymore, whereas I used to do that all the time, which made for a very eclectic collection. But these days, space is definitely a thing. I've only got a limited amount of space to work with, and so I only collect what I really, really love and what I know I'm actually going to listen to. Because that's the thing, you can collect so many records and never listen to any of them. I mean, some people have collections with like 10,000 records, and you're never going to play them. So I want to make sure I play what I have. And so, I don't do a whole lot with online purchases. I love just doing it in the store, just finding records in the store. The thrill of the search, that's never left me since I was a kid. And, it just makes it more fun. You found that one special thing in a place that maybe you didn't expect to find it, and it blows your mind, and you remember the story of it. You're not going to really remember sitting in front of your computer clicking add to cart on Amazon. That's not very eventful, but I mean, it gets the job done, of course. And I'm not dogging it at all. It's a great service, but on the back of, I put all my records in plastic sleeves, and on the back of every sleeve, I put a little sticky note at the top, little post-it note. Not a post-it note, like this is a colorful sticker, and I write where I got it, and so that way I remember exactly where it was. Most of them I remember where I got them from, but for me, record collecting is the thrill. It's the search. It's the place you found it. It's what you were wearing that day. It was like, what did the sky look like? Did you go for a drive? Who was with you? It's an experience, and I think that's what's so fun about it. And it's something that I've never gotten tired of, and I really don't think I ever will. It's been a part of me for well over 20 years now. So at this point, I've just accepted that I'm gonna be collecting records forever in some form, some shape or form. But so that's just a little brief story about me and why I love collecting records. But thank you so much for joining me on the drive. My name is Giggens, and I'll see you on the next stop. Take care.